everyone, it's Emma, and today I'm doing my March wrap-up. This video is kind of late because although you guys saw me like 2 days ago, I haven't recorded in 3 weeks. All the videos that you've seen for the past 3 weeks have been all pre-recorded because I've been traveling. If you noticed that like my uploading schedule was different and I skipped a couple days and blah blah blah, that was because I was traveling. So now I'm home and I'm really happy to be filming again. That's why this video is kind of late, because I couldn't pre-record my wrap-up because I hadn't read the books yet. While I was traveling, I kind of uploaded on Wednesdays and Saturdays and I really liked it. So I think I'm gonna stick to Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yeah. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Linger by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the second book in the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy, which I've been making my way through and really enjoying. I did make a book review for this one, and I made a spoiler-free review for the first book, which is called Shiver. So I'll link those down below because otherwise I'm not going to say much about this one. I really enjoyed it. I liked it as much as the first one. It wasn't like on a whole new level from the first one. I really liked the new characters that were introduced because in this one we get different point of views. Like the first book we followed Grace and Sam's point of view, and in this one we still follow Grace and Sam's point of view, but we also follow Isabel and Cole, whose point of views I really enjoyed. If you want to know more about what this series is about, go watch my spoiler-free video for the first book, Shiver. Then I read A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic in February, and then A Gathering of Shadows in March, and now I'm reading A Conjuring of Light in April. I am so in love with this series. It is definitely going to be like way up there on the top of my favorite series list. I just love these characters, and I love this world, and it's so magical. After I finished Gathering of Shadows, I literally thought about this book for like the rest of the month. I had a hard time reading any other books. It basically ruined my life reading this book. The next book that I'm going to talk about is The Young Elites by Marie Lu. I don't know what it is with Marie Lu's writing, but I really can't get into it. I read the whole Legend trilogy. Like, there was nothing that I really thought was wrong with it. I just don't get pulled into the characters. They seem kind of unrealistic to me. And this one was the same, which was really sad because I thought I was going to love this book because the main character is a female anti-hero. It's all very morally gray, and that is like totally what I love. But I just didn't buy it, and I think it didn't help that I just read A Gathering of Shadows, and Lila, the main character, is also a female anti-hero, so I kept, like, comparing them, and that was just bad. That was a bad thing to do, because I love Lila so much, and I relate so much to Lila, and I really didn't relate to Adelina, the main character in this book. I thought about making a review for it, but, like, I can't exactly pinpoint what it is that I didn't love because there was nothing that I hated, like there was nothing that I disagreed with, because I always want to like books and I always want to like join in the fun when there's a fandom and whatever, but these ones are just not my cup of tea and I'm not going to finish the trilogy. So Everything by Nicola Yoon. I read The Sun Is Also a Star this month too, but I'm going to talk about that one after this one. I read this one because I went to see Beauty and the Beast and the trailer for the movie played before it, and I really liked the look of it, and I liked the actors who were playing the main characters, so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna read the book so that I can go see the movie when it comes out. You guys know that I don't like contemporaries in general. This one was like the perfect example of what I don't like about contemporaries. Like, it pretty much did everything that I don't like about contemporaries. Nothing about it felt realistic. Didn't buy into the love story. I felt so not real life. I just didn't believe it at all. I'm planning to make a video about contemporaries that I liked and contemporaries that I didn't like and kind of comparing them, because I don't think I can really explain why in this wrap-up. I don't think I really have enough time. But I'm still going to go see the movie. I'm still excited about the movie. Now, to talk about The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I saved this one for after Everything, even though I read it before Everything, because I loved this book. I loved this book so much. Like, it is now one of my favorite books, and that never happens to me with contemporaries. I think I've said this before, but one of the things about contemporaries is after I read them, I, like, never think about them again. This one, like, consumed my mind for weeks and weeks on end. It takes place in New York City, and I went to New York like the day after I finished this, and I was just walking around the city thinking about these characters. Like, I kind of want to reread it right now. It's so weird that it's the same author as Everything. Like, this one didn't do any of the things that I dislike about contemporaries. I loved the characters, I totally related to the main character, and I bought into their whole love story, even though it's kind of insta-love. I'm so happy that I found a contemporary that I really like. I wish this one was being made into a movie. It's always really nice to see an author improve. When Nicola Yoon next puts out a book, I'll be really excited to read it. If you have any suggestions for me on like contemporaries that are just like this one, please leave them down below. Next, I've got a couple poetry books that I read. The first one is Stuff I've Been Feeling Lately by Alicia Cook. This one is a really interesting concept. Each poem has a song that goes along with it. And then the second half of the book is blackout poetry. I had mixed feelings about this one. The first half I didn't enjoy all that much. I didn't listen to the songs with poems as I read them. But for some reason, I didn't really love the poems in the first half. I just thought they were like okay. But I enjoyed the blackout poetry part. Something about blackout poetry and how it makes you like read it slower, that's very dramatic to me. And there was one poem in here about like childhood best friends and keeping in touch with them that made me cry. And then I called my best friend who's at college and we talked for like hours because I missed her so much. In that way, I really liked this book because it did like make an impact on me, and I really liked the blackout poetry part, but it's not going to be like my favorite poetry book ever. Then I reread The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. I love this book. I love this poetry collection. I kind of like picked it up on a whim because I was having a hard time getting over The Sun Is Also a Star and A Gathering of Shadows, and I just reread it in one sitting. I loved it just as much the second time as I did the first time. I'm actually currently rereading this for the third time, which sounds ridiculous, but I had not gotten like the new published edition. This is not the self-published edition, but the new one. And now I've gotten it and I wanted to reread it because there are some more poems in this one. My mom just waved to me from outside the window. She's walking my dog. I'm also going to make a video of some of my favorite poetry books and review them a little bit more because I want a way to talk more about them, including this one. And then one more poetry book. It is Ranat and Jamil. I hauled this in my last book haul and I didn't really know anything about it, but like I picked it up in Books of Wonder and it just kind of drew me towards it. And I freaking loved this book. I read it on the airplane out to visit my brother at college. It's blurbed on the front by Jacqueline Woodson, who wrote Brown Girl Dreaming, which gave me a really good feeling about it. Basic gist of this book is it's a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but it's loosely based. I can't say why it's loosely based, but there's a reason. It's about this girl, Ranat, who is an Israeli girl, and then Jamil is a Palestinian boy. They fall in love, like, at first sight, but it's written in poetry. This book is so beautiful, including the underneath cover. Can you see the little RJ? There's, like, some author notes in the beginning and at the end, and if you read this, I highly suggest you read those because it added a lot to it, and she talked about, like, her research that she did for writing this, and I thoroughly enjoyed hearing about that. It's just so nice to read about something that is, like, so far from my life. I really like reading things that expose me to different cultures and different places that people live and different things they experience. Ugh, I loved it. I should probably stop talking about this now. Then I read a couple manga volumes. I read Bakuman, volume 1 and 2. As soon as I picked them up, I like totally fell in love. It's about two boys who kind of team up to be manga artists, manga writers. It's just really cute and sweet and well done, and I love the art style. I love the characters. And then I read A Silent Voice, Volume 1. I got this one on the suggestion of my brother, even though he hasn't read it. This one is about a girl who cannot hear and a boy who bullied her when they were young. And then 6 years later, they kind of come back into contact with each other, and it's kind of a love story between them 6 years later. This one does have a bunch of triggers. Bullying, obviously, death threats kind of bullying, and suicide. The first volume was pretty heavy because it's the backstory. I've now read all the way through the fourth volume, and I just really love this one. Some people have told me that it's being made into a movie, but like I'm not sure when we'll be able to watch it in the US. But I watched the trailer and it looks amazing. I think there's 7 volumes in this, and I'm pretty sure it's done, and I'm going to probably read them all this month. It's so emotional, and it just deals a lot with, like, recovering from childhood traumas and how to, like, be friends with someone and what it means to be a good friend, and it's just lovely. Okay! That is everything that I read in the month of March. Because I was traveling, it felt like I had a very small reading month, but this was actually a, like, successful reading month. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. I'm Miss Emma Reads a lot on all of my social media, which I will link down there in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon with a new video.